Listen to the story of Arsenal Football Club, from how the North London team actually began in South East London, to how that famous red and white kit is connected to Nottingham Forest, and how they once shared a ground with Tottenham Hotspur. Out now and available only on Patreon and on Apple Podcast subscription. Welcome back to the Football for Kids podcast in what will be its 4th year alive. I hope everyone had a wonderful Christmas and a very happy new year. It's now time to dive straight back into the stories and the journeys of the players, the clubs and everything else in between. And in this episode, we're going to be talking about no other than the Brentford scoring machine. The man who, as I record this today, is the second highest goal scorer in the Premier League so far this season. Which is quite a story in itself, because as you'll hear, it was watching the Premier League that lit a spark in his brain and put the fire in his belly. In this episode, we're going to be talking about the Brazilian frontman, Igor Thiago. Today, we are telling the story of a goal-scoring giant, with a name that sounds a bit like a superheroes in a football comic, because his name is Igor Thiago Nascimento Rodrigues. And if you're thinking, Darren, that is a lot of name, you're right. That name needs its own changing room. Now, Thiago was born on the 26th of June in 2001 in Gama, in the Federal District of Brazil, just outside the capital city of Brasília. It's a real place with real families, working hard, cracking on and making do. And when Thiago was little, football was not the serious, organised, clipboard-like football which we know today. It was neighbourhood football. The kind where the pitch is whatever bit of ground you can find, the goalposts are jumpers if you're lucky enough to have them, and the rules change every 10 seconds because somebody's little cousin has decided that they are now the referee. That was Thiago's world when he was growing up. And in the middle of that world was his older brother, the one who first pulled him towards the beautiful game. Thiago followed him to local football, watched him play, and slowly, quietly, something clicked in his chest. Not a loud click like a cartoon, more like a tiny switch flicking on. Oh, this is it. This is my thingy for. But the dream did not really explode into life until something else arrived, and that was the Premier League. On television, in Brazil, the Premier League was right in front of his eyes. Thiago watched it and saw a player who moved like lightning and posed like he knew a secret the rest of the world had not learnt yet. His name was Cristiano Ronaldo, playing for Manchester United at the time he was. Thiago had spoken about seeing Ronaldo and thinking, I want to be just like him. And you can imagine it, can't you? A kid in Gama, eyes wide, watching Ronaldo fly down the wing and thinking, hang on, if he can do that there, maybe I can do something like that too. That's how dreams start, with no big contract, no scout and no fancy stadium. It's all in your brain. It's all in your thinking. Unfortunately though, for Thiago, life got tougher. Thiago has spoken about real hardship growing up. His father died when he was just 13 years old. That is an age when most kids are worrying about school trainers or who is best at football in the playground. Thiago was now thinking about his family, about helping, about getting through, about chipping in. From the age of 11, he was already working different jobs anyway, fitting them in around school and football, doing whatever he could to support the people he loved. And that is the first big lesson in Thiago's story. Before he was a striker, he was most definitely a worker. Before he was a footballer, he was a helper. And before he even scored goals in England, he learned something even more important: how to keep going, even when life is unbelievably tough. Now, with his dad gone, Thiago really had to step up and help his mum. His mum worked incredibly hard as a street cleaner and a rubbish collector in Brasília, the capital city of Brazil. This is one of the toughest jobs out there. Early mornings, long days, beaming hot sun, heavy, smelly bags, and Thiago did not see this job as something small. He saw what his mum was doing as heroic. He has spoken with huge respect about his mum, saying her strength showed him how to keep going even when life feels unfair. Watching her push forward every single day lit a fire inside him. If she could do that, then he could help too. So, Thiago did something extraordinary. He went to school, he trained when he could, and he worked whenever he could as well. From a very young age, he really got stuck in. Even before he was a proper teenager, Thiago found ways to earn money to help his mum and help his family. He cleared weeds for neighbours. It wasn't the most glamorous of jobs, it wasn't exciting, but it was work and it paid money. As time went by, he worked harder and harder. He helped his uncle on building sites carrying bricks and mixing cement. It was a tough job, which made him stronger. He carried shopping bags for people at local supermarkets. He worked on fruit stalls at fairs. He handed out leaflets in the blazing hot sun. Some days he must have been absolutely shattered, and yet that dream never left him. Even after school, even after work, even when his legs were tired and his arms ached, Thiago would still keep going. And not only would he keep going, he'd go running, doing long runs, sometimes 10 kilometres. Not because anyone told him to, but because deep down he believed football might one day open a door for him. And if he wanted to be able to pass through that door, he knew he needed to be in the best shape and peak fitness at every single opportunity. Years later, Thiago said something very simple about this time in his life. It taught him to notice the little things in life, and to be grateful for the big ones too. This was the real training ground, not a football academy, not a fancy pitch, life itself. And without realising it, every brick which he carried, every bag which he lifted, every step of those long runs was building the strong, powerful striker he would one day become. Because he was a boy that didn't quit, a boy who kept dreaming, a boy who learned that even in the hardest of days, you can still move forward. For a long time, football had been something that Thiago loved, but not something that had properly chosen him back. That had begun to change at a local club. This was where Thiago's older brother was playing. So once again, Thiago followed, just like he always had. But this time, he didn't watch. He got involved. He played. And instead of the big football you see on the television, Thiago started with something a little different. Futsal. Now, futsal is played on a smaller pitch, usually indoors, with a heavier ball that does not bounce much. That means you have to keep control of the ball in tight spaces, and in Brazil, almost every great player starts this way. It teaches quick feet, sharp turns, and clever touches. It teaches you how to solve problems when there is no space to breathe, and Thiago absolutely loved it. And even though he was taller and stronger than most of the boys his age, he learned to keep the ball close to his feet, how to shield it, protect it, and use his body wisely. That futsal really painted a picture for him in later life. People started to notice him. But here's an interesting part. While many Brazilian kids are snapped up by the big academies at 10 or 12, Thiago was not. He stayed outside of that system. No famous badge on his shirt, no big training centre, just graft, proper graft and belief. Then, when he was 16 years old, something happened. After going on trials and trying out at different teams, he was offered a place at Vera FC. Vera were based in the countryside of Paraná, a state in the south of Brazil. But that meant moving over 10,000 kilometres away from home. That is a long way from home, a really long way from home. A new place, new people, no mum peeping her head around the door, no familiar streets. It was exciting, but my goodness was it scary. Thiago knew this was his chance though. At Vera, everything changed. Training was structured, sessions were serious, games mattered a lot. And for the first time, football was not just about fun or hope, it was about preparation. This was where coaches began shaping him as a centre forward, teaching him how to use his strength, his height, his timing properly, and how to hold off defenders in the correct way. He dominated. In regional youth leagues, he became a nightmare for defenders. Strong, relentless, always moving and always fighting for space. That boy who once ran 10 kilometres after work, that boy who carried bricks and shopping bags, he was turning into a striker, built for battles. In 2019, Thiago's hard work at Vera was finally being noticed by a giant of Brazilian football. Cruzeiro are one of Brazil's most famous clubs and one of their very successful clubs too. And Thiago got the opportunity to join their academy when he was 18, which is quite late compared to many of the young stars. But he didn't panic. He had learned along the way that everyone's path is different. At the time, Cruzeiro were going through a tough spell. For the first time ever, they'd been relegated to Serie B, the second division. But sometimes hard moments create chances. The club needed young players and Thiago, well, he was willing to step forward. He made his professional debut on the 22nd of January in 2020. He was guided by great coaches who really believed in him, and he did put on some performance. Thiago didn't explode overnight though. He grew steadily. Over years, he scored 10 goals in 64 games, learning, adapting and getting stronger with every season. Then came a proper wow moment. And in 2022, the club was brought by a Brazilian legend who went by the name of R9 Ronaldo. And Thiago became a part of history, becoming the first major player sold in the Ronaldo era. That did two things. It helped the club rebuild and it opened the door for Thiago's next adventure. Football was about to take him far, far away from home. From Brazil to Bulgaria. Yep, that was quite a change. Thiago went from the warm sunshine of Brazil to a freezing cold small city in northeastern Bulgaria, where winters are very cold and snow is very much a thing. It was a different language, different food, different football, different everything. But all the best players learn how to adapt, and that is exactly what he wanted to do. At first, the club helped him settle in by placing him into the reserve team. It was in the second division. There was no rush, no pressure, just learning, and it did not take long for him to get going. Things went well for Thiago there, and he kept proving himself over and over again. And in June 2023, he made another giant leap. This time, he would sign for the Belgian giants Club Brugge for around 7.9 million euros, which was a record sale for a Bulgarian club. Now, Thiago was playing in Belgium under a calm, clever manager called Ronnie Deila. The team played a smart system of 4-2-3-1, and Thiago was surrounded by brilliant creators. At first, things weren't the easiest though. Thiago went 9 games without scoring. For some players that would feel scary. For Thiago it became fuel. Then came the wow moment. In December and in January he went on an incredible run. 18 goals in 12 matches. Bang, 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 back in the net almost every single time. One of the biggest moments came in Europe. During that spell, Thiago was scoring more goals than his famous Brazilian counterpart Vinicius Jr. and Richarlison as well. By the end of the 2023-24 season, his numbers weren't bad at all. 29 goals, 6 assists in 55 games. He helped the club win the Belgian Pro League and made it to the semi-finals of the UEFA Europa Conference League. And then came a very special award. Thiago was named Young Player of the Season in the competition. From carrying bricks to carrying a team, this man was on a mission. And on the 14th of February 2024, something huge was announced. Thiago was signing for Brentford. He would sign with them for £30 million, with the move starting in the summer of 2024. Brentford's clever recruitment team believed that Thiago was the perfect next striker to replace Ivan Toney. He was strong, quick and smart, ready for the Premier League. Everything felt exciting. But football stories are never quite straight lines. Thiago suffered an injury, which meant he needed an operation and time away from football. That is always frustrating, especially when you've just arrived somewhere new. As he worked hard to come back, something else unlucky happened. He picked up a joint infection in the same knee. Very rare and very unlucky. Later, there was even a small calf injury for good measure. For many players, it would feel overwhelming. But for Thiago, he knew he had to stay calm, train and keep doing the right things. Things moved on and he got to the 2025-26 season where he was back to full fitness, playing under the manager Keith Andrews. Thiago was fit, confident and ready. And suddenly, boom. In August 2025, he scored his first competitive goal for Brentford, calmly tucking a penalty away against Nottingham Forest. That was the spark. Then came a night that nobody at Brentford will forget. The 27th of September 2025, Brentford welcomed Manchester United. Thiago was unstoppable. 2 goals in the first half, defenders pushed aside, confidence was pouring out of him. The boy who once carried bricks was now bullying the biggest teams in the world, and he did not slow down either. In November 2025, Thiago was named Premier League Player of the Month, becoming the first Brentford player ever to win the award. History was well and truly made. Thiago has done some wonderful things since joining Brentford, and now he's back to full fitness. He really is a proper force. And when you look back at his story, it tells us something really important. Greatness does not care where you start. It doesn't care how late you arrive either, and it does not disappear just because life makes some things hard. Thiago worked when he was tired. He believed when things went quiet. He waited when others rushed, and when the moment finally arrived, he was ready. So whatever your dream is, football, music, art, anything at all, keep going, keep believing, and remember, sometimes the longest journeys can create the strongest people. And remember, if you know someone who loves football just as much as you do, then please tell them about the Football for Kids podcast. And whether you're playing football soon, watching it on the telly, or pitchside, I hope that you enjoy the game. See you next time.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
With Car Guru's Discover, you can skip the filters and describe what you're looking for in your own words. Simply type what you want, and Car Guru's Discover instantly surfaces real listings that match your exact needs. It's no wonder Car Gurus is the #1 most visited car shopping site according to SimilarWeb's estimated traffic data. Buy or sell your next car today with Car Gurus at cargurus.com. Go to cargurus.com to make sure your big deal is the best deal. That's CARGURUS.com. cargurus.com.